Hey guys, how's it going today? Today we're doing a bit of a review of sorts. Maybe not so much a review as it is in kind of like a take a look at this kind of deal. But a while back I got a request from a couple people to showcase my Crash Bandicoot games and my Spyro games. Well, I'll get to Spyro, but first we're going to do Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot is one of my all-time favorite platforming series, for the PlayStation, of course. And as far as being unique for their time, it doesn't get any better than Crash Bandicoot. So let's get cracking. Let me clear this up real fast. We're going to be doing the original Naughty Dog Crash Bandicoot games, not the ones after the aftermarket, because I don't have the new ones. I don't like them. I like the original ones. The original Trilogy and CTR. So we're doing 4 games. Let's get started. Start off with Crash Bandicoot. The very first, the original, this is the one everybody knows. Actually, I don't know. This or Warped is the one everybody knows. When I grew up, well, still growing up, but when I was younger, I guess you would say, this was one of my first PlayStation games that I ever got. If you notice, it's the greatest hits version. Not a real big difference, but just wanted to point that out, I guess, if you couldn't see it. But yes, the original Crash Bandicoot is a great game in every way. It's also probably the hardest in the entire series, even in the newer games, because of one little tiny rule that makes the difficulty spike a lot. And that rule is 1 life to a gem. If you're familiar with Crash 2 and the rest of the series, you can die and still get those gems. But if you die even 1 time in the original Crash Bandicoot, it's physically impossible to still get the gem. So you have to break every box, get through the whole stage in 1 life. And if you do that, then you get the gem. And it may sound easy, but if you play some of the harder levels in the game, like the 2 I can think of are Slippery Climb and Fumbling in the Dark. I mean, those are my 2 worst levels. By far. Slippery Climb isn't as bad. I think Fumbling in the Dark is the worst level in the original Crash Bandicoot. Just because it's, the controls are very slippery, and it's hard to see what you're doing, because it's a dark level. Kind of like Lights Out. But that was very unique for the time. This game had great controls. It was very fast and easy to pick up. The shoulder buttons, you didn't use them. What's great about this game is, you pretty much use 2 buttons and a D-pad to control everything you do. Everything. Yeah, I mean, there was jump. There was no power-ups or anything to do with that. I mean, look, even in the manual here, it tells you there's like 3 or 4 buttons that you use tops in this game, and I like that. I mean, yeah. Yeah, there's a whole thing of, look, see, here's the controls right here. See, look. Now these buttons are the same thing. The triangle button shows your inventory. Circle and square show you, they spin. There's no belly flop or nothing. Circle and square both spin. So basically you're using X to jump, circle to spin, square to spin if you choose, but circle's the button to use when you ask me. Or, I mean, square is the button to use, sorry. But, triangle's for inventory and D-pad's control. So, very easy control. Very, very simple controls. Very fluid and very easy, very accurate and precise controls that should be present in a platformer. There's none of that really blocky control, except for some levels. A little bit of edging is a little rough in parts. But Crash Bandicoot overall was a great staple in the original series. This is my favorite Crash Bandicoot in the whole series by far. And I mean, in absolutely every way. There was a lot of levels, the layout was cool. And my favorite part was, you controlled Crash in every level, besides Hog Wild and Whole Hog, or you were a whole, it was a whole level just you were riding a hog, and that started that series there. But, like I said, you control Crash in everything. There's no, like, jet skis or plane levels. I hate the plane levels, I hate the jet ski levels. I just don't like that crap. I like being straightforward. You control Crash, you jump, you run. I mean, it's just, I love that. That's what it's about. It's about Crash. It's not about Coco or some other crap you don't want to play. Like, I'll get into that when I get to Warped. But this is Crash 1, good game, and definitely my favorite of the whole series by far. And now we're going on to Crash 2. This is my second favorite in the series, just because it kind of retained the first game's element, but the difficulty, not quite as challenging. Like I said, they took away the whole 1 life per gem deal, so now you can die as many times as you want, and as long as you get all the boxes, you still get the gem. Despite there's a couple levels you have to get through really fast to get the gem, but that has nothing to do with that kind of 1 life rule, even though you can only die once and that kind of thing. But still, it's easier, very, very different than the first in terms of difficulty. Easier for sure, like I said. Now this is where the series to me started going downhill. After Crash 2, they started implementing a lot of other things that I did not like in the Crash games. Now, what I liked about the first game and this game is there was no time trials. There was nothing to race against the clock. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I play a Crash Bandicoot game, I don't want to race against the clock. How is that fun? That's not fun to me, that's annoying. I want to explore the levels. I want to get down and figure out, just figure out what works and what doesn't. Just go through and have a good time. You don't want to rush through every level. That's not fun. How is that fun? And this is where the game, this is kind of like the height of popularity. Most people who haven't played the first game have played the second game, and that's where a lot of people discovered the Crash series and discovered that it was a really great game. Now what they did in Crash 2 was they implemented a couple different moves. First of all, there was the slide. The slide was a different move. Actually, I'll read it right off the bat for you guys. It says, all new moves and combos: slide, crawl, high jump, body slam, swing, surf on a jetboard, fly with a jetpack, and more. Now the last two, surf on a jetboard, fly with a jetpack, that's what I don't like about this game. If there's one thing I don't like about this game, it's mostly the jetpack. The surfboard, it's tolerable. It's very, it's fun. I'd say that's fun. But the jetpack, it's not very good controlled. It's very choppy, rushed, it seems, and it didn't seem like it was fully controllable as it should have been. You had to go through the levels very slowly, take your time, and like I said before, I don't like rushing, but I don't like going very slowly either. I like going at my own pace. I like where I can pace myself and go as I wish. You know, I don't want to rush, I don't want to go too slow. In the jetpack, you have to go very slow if you want to get through the levels, unless you're really, really good at controlling it, and I'm not. I'm better at just controlling Crash, and that's what I love doing. I just love levels that are straight up, you control Crash, and if it has split paths, even more fun, because that adds to the challenge level, like Cortex Power in the first game, or even the first Insanity Beach. In the first game, Turtle Woods was like that. But there's just some great games. The first two Crash Bandicoots were all absolutely my favorite in the whole series. Crash 1 followed by Crash 2, 1, 2, in that order. It's the way I like them. But this game was, most people see it as an improvement over the first game. And I can see that, I can agree to some point, but I wish they would have kept the 1 life gem rule, because that made the game a lot harder, made the replay value a bit higher, because it increased your sense of gaming. If you had a higher sense of gaming, you would do a lot better with 1 life. I mean, it just took away the difficulty, and that kind of took away the fun a little bit for me. And that's where things started getting downhill. So now with that, let's move on to Crash 3. Crash 3 was, in most gamers' opinions, the best in the whole series. Now, I mean, if you have, I'm sure you guys have some friends that love this game. Go ask your friends next time you're with them which Crash Bandicoot game was their favorite, and I can guarantee 7 or 8 out of 10 times they'll say Crash Warped was their favorite game of the series. Now, I can understand this game was a great improvement in some ways, just like 2 was an improvement over 1 in some ways, but in other ways, it was a couple steps back in the wrong direction. Naughty Dog did a good job on this game overall, as well as they did on the second game. But like I said with the first game, I wish they would have kept the difficulty of the 1 life gems, because in this game, the difficulty is it's pathetic. It's easy. Literally, it's easy. Now, if you look at the first game and the second game, the first game, the difficulty is legendary on some levels. Some levels it's like legendary. You gotta be like perfect, literally perfect on some levels if you want to get that gem. And to me, that's what made the game a lot more fun, because it would involve practice and a little bit more time involved to actually complete the game fully. And number 2 definitely had some hard parts in it. But 3, I didn't feel challenged at all by this game. I mean, the color gem paths, you know, there was blue, red, green, etc., purple, whatever. But they were supposed to be challenging paths, right? Well, they weren't challenging at all. It was like a normal stage in Crash 1. A normal stage. At the hardest parts in Crash 3 was like a normal stage in Crash 1. It's like a walk in the park. And on top of that, they had these stupid levels. Like, I hate the blimps, the freaking planes, the motorcycle levels, and jet ski levels. I hate them. I think they were just terrible additions, and they shouldn't be in this game at all, because they sucked. They were terrible. They were just awful levels. They controlled like crap. There were so many glitches you could trigger in these levels. Like, you could get stuck and just get killed in a second. I mean, it wasn't enjoyable for me. That might have been the only hard part, because you didn't want to trigger a glitch by accident in those levels. And I didn't like it at all. It was easy as pie to get the gems. You can complete this game rather fast with all gems. Another part I didn't like about this game was the freaking time trials. The time trials are pathetic. They're terrible. I hate them. Like I said, I don't like having fun rushing against the clock in a Crash Bandicoot game. So it worked in many ways, was an improvement, but in the ways I said, in my opinion, it was a step back. The difficulty was way too easy. The controls were really stiff in some of the vehicle levels. Didn't like it. Sorry, guys. Crash 3 is a great game, but it had some real stinker levels, and I did not appreciate those. So with that, let's get on to Crash Team Racing, which in my opinion is a very great racing game. One of the best kart racers out there. We're going to do a quick 2-minute on Crash Team Racing, because there's not a whole lot to say about this game that already hasn't been said. This game was made in 1999, just a year after Crash 3, 97 for 2, and 96 for number 1. So, you know, they came out a year after each other. Crash Team Racing took the icon of Crash Bandicoot and made into a kart racer. They had Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing. Well, why not have a Crash Bandicoot Team Racing? So they did, and it came out great. It was an excellent game in every way. They spent a lot of time in it, and it was a really good staple in the Crash series. And this spawned series such as Nitro Kart and Tag Team Racing, which is the newest. And both of those games just don't add up to what Crash Team Racing developed as a legacy for the Crash Racing games. Now you can control, right here on the back it says there was 12 playable characters, and there's more than that if you unlock them, but it's cool. It was just really cool what they did with this game. There were so many tracks. There was 25 tracks, and that's a lot of tracks for one game, and they were all very fun-filled tracks. They all had turbo pads, there was power-ups, very much like Mario Kart, but to a degree more along the lines of Crash Bandicoot. There was Nitro, TNT, and all the staples that were in Crash. So that to me made this such a great game that it deserved to be in this list of the original Naughty Dog Crash Bandicoot games, because this was the last Naughty Dog Crash Bandicoot that was developed, because Crash Bash was developed by a different company. So guys, with that, this is my quick summary review on the Naughty Dog original series of Crash Bandicoot games. They're great games. I fully suggest you check them out. This review is just going over 14 minutes right now, so I'm going to end it, and I really appreciate you guys watching this. I hope you guys who wanted to see these Crash videos are happy, and I'll have Spyro up soon. But yes, I am Matt, and I hope you guys can dig it. Thanks for watching.